very good evening to you. This is News Down on Flow 94.9 FM UMUAHIA. The Flow of God's own state. My name is Ginika, Oluoha. First, the headlines. President Buhari assures Nigerians of adequate security during elections. Former President Jonathan urges voters to participate fully at the polls. New transition committee chairman sworn in Abia State. And on the foreign scene, U.S. President to declare emergency over Mexico border wall. Details shortly. Ahead of tomorrow's presidential and national assembly election across the country, INEC is making final arrangements for a hitch-free exercise. We now have our correspondent Samson Eze, who is standing by on the line at INEC headquarters here in UMUAHIA. Good evening, Samson.
Good evening to you, Ginika, Oluoha.
Yes. What is the situation at INEC office right now as regards to tomorrow's election?
Well, I am right here at INEC office, down the Secretariat axis of the new layout, you know, where the office is located, right here in Abia State. I tell you, the situation here is calm, though you have uncountable number of police vans and policemen. The number is huge. I think it has to do with some of the developments, some of the recent happenings around INEC facilities across the country. But security detachment to this place is quite huge. Okay. Then inside the INEC office, you could find some of the foreign, national or international observers, or those who are coming outside of the state, who are trying to tidy up their documentation or accreditation.
Okay, so Samson, were you able to speak to any INEC officials there as regards to how many polling units the voters will be casting their ballot tomorrow?
Well, I spoke to the head of Public Affairs Unit, Bamidele Mojid. He did not confirm that. But then the significant thing that they've done now is that materials have been mobilized to 12 out of the 17 local governments. And some of these materials have gone to the farthest part of Abia State, like Arochukwu, Okwa, Oluoha, and the rest.
Okay. When you talk about these materials, hello, Samson?
Yes.
When you talk about these materials, is it the sensitive or non-sensitive materials?
Well, it has to be the non-sensitive materials, though he wasn't quite specific for some reasons. That's known to him to disclose the materials. But I tell you, 5 local governments are yet to receive their own materials. Not as if there is any problem. I guess those local governments are the ones within the state capital, but they seem prepared and ready. There is nothing negative happening here. Everybody is just minding his or her business here. Everywhere calm.
What about the ad hoc staff? Are they also on ground?
No. Right now, you can't find any of them around here. They were here in the morning. Some of them were here in the morning to, they had 1 or 2 complaints, and most of their paperwork had to be done at the local government level. So they had little or nothing to do at the state headquarters. But right now, it's been just some kind of movement, people coming in. I tell you, I have not cited anything that is negative right now, except observers who just came in somewhat agitated because they are yet to get their accreditation. But I'm very sure that they are working on it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Samson. That's Samson Eze, our correspondent at the INEC headquarters here in UMUAHIA. Moving on now, President Muhammadu Buhari is assuring Nigerians of adequate security and urging them to turn out en masse for the general polls, beginning with the presidential and national assembly elections tomorrow. Buhari also assured the international communities, especially diplomats and foreigners in tomorrow's elections, that the government will do everything possible to ensure their safety.
It was indeed such free, fair and peaceful elections that made it possible for our government to emerge, despite the fact that we are contesting against a long-standing incumbent party. And as your president and a fellow Nigerian, I ask that you come out and queue to fulfill this important obligation you have to yourselves and your fellow citizens and to our common future. Let me at this point reaffirm the commitment of the federal government to the conduct of free and fair elections in a safe and peaceful atmosphere.
President Goodluck Jonathan is urging Nigerians to come out massively for tomorrow's polls, saying that Moving on now, the Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General in West Africa and the Sahel, Mohamed Ibn Chambers, and the ECOWAS leaders are urging all stakeholders in the Nigerian elections to contribute to peaceful elections within their respective areas of influence by ensuring that campaigns remain issue-based, devoid of incitement through hate speech, as well as preaching peace and tolerance. Speaking at the 43rd Murtala Muhammad Lecture, Ibn Chambers underscored the need to facilitate the participation of women and the youth, not just as voters, but also as candidates.
In any election, there's going to be a winner and a loser. Those who win should show magnanimity, and those who lose should gracefully accept defeat. There is no place for incitement to violence.
ECOWAS called on all candidates in the election to accept the outcome of the exercise and where in dispute, seek redress through lawful means. The stability of our region depends on the stability of Nigeria, our natural leader.
Well, the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Muhammad, is warning judges that will handle election petition cases to avoid any form of partisanship. Justice Muhammad, who gave the admonition during the swearing-in of 17 additional judges that will serve as chairmen and members of election petition tribunals for the 2019 polls, urged them to submit themselves to the sanctity of the rule of law and supremacy of the Constitution and the discharge of their judicial functions. Former chairman of the...
After elections, they don't prosecute anybody. But we cannot improve unless we discover the will to hold accountable those who mess around with the will of the people. And there's good reason for that. Anybody who can steal the will of the people will steal everything.
Well, the Independent National Electoral Commission has assured international observers of safety during the general elections. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu gave the assurance during a press briefing for accredited international observers in Abuja.
Please feel free, Your Excellency, to go around the polling units to observe our processes and procedures, and at the end of the day also inform us what observations you have for us. We are very happy to hear from you. We welcome criticism. Without criticism, there won't be progress. And we want to assure you that all foreign observers are welcome, and you are all ultimately the guests of the Independent National Electoral Commission, because we extended the invitation to you and we have accredited you.
And in Abia State, the newly appointed Commissioner for Youth Development, Danny Ubani, and the 17 Transition Committee Chairman and their deputies have been sworn in. Speaking at the event, the Governor, Okeze Ikpeazu, charged the chairman to make the security of lives and property paramount in their various LGAs by liaising with the security agencies in their domain. He said that their presence has closed the vacuum that has existed in the LGAs, adding that their coming on board at this time is very...
FM, UMUAHIA, the flow of God's own state. Detailed, balanced, straight to the point. News now on Flow 94.9 FM, UMUAHIA.
6:45 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m.
News now. News as you need to know it. The flow of God's own state.
Jungle justice is encouraged by the general lack of faith.
Now, from the foreign scene, Democratic and Republican politicians have sharply criticized President Trump's plan to use emergency powers to pay for a border wall with Mexico. Trump is due to declare the emergency shortly in an attempt to bypass Congress, which has refused to approve $5.7 billion for the wall. Senior Democrats accuse the president of a gross abuse of power. Other in sports, Everton are hopeful their Nigerian import, Henry Onyekuru, will be able to obtain a work permit this summer, which will enable him feature for the club next season. The Nigerian forward joined the Toffees in June 2017 from Belgium, but has yet to play for the club. Up next is Entertainment Update with Eric Samuel.
Shaya bin Abraham was arrested by United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement after the authorities found that he is a United Kingdom citizen who is living unlawfully in the U.S. The rapper has now been released on bond pending deportation hearing, and according to his lawyer, has provided evidence of his extraordinary contribution to the community and society. 21 Savage, who was slated to perform and attend the Grammy Awards, missed out on the event but sent his love to his fans for their support. Still on the Grammys, history was made and some were shattered as Nigeria's Seun Kuti, who was supposed to perform at the Grammys, failed to as a result of his flight issues. Seun, who also missed out on the award as he lost the award for Best World Music Album to South Africa's Soweto Gospel Choir. Meanwhile, Nigerian